Come, 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 come to us in Kiribati. We need you to show us the way to God. We need sisters to help us to find God. We are thirsty and hungry for God's love. Come, come to us in Kiribati. FDNSC in Kiribati, 1895 to 1908. In the footsteps of Mother Marie Louise, a woman of faith and obedience. In 1882, Father Jules Chevalier appointed Mother Marie Louise to be leader of the newborn congregation of the Daughters of Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, which she humbly accepted with faith and obedience to the will of God. She led the sisters, drawing their inspiration from their title, the Daughters of Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, that will direct all their efforts towards the imitation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who was so completely penetrated with the Spirit which she herself drew from the heart of her Divine Son. Prior to this, in 1881, Pope Leo XIII confided the missions of Melanesia and Micronesia to the missionaries of the Sacred Heart. Hence, Father Jules Chevalier sent 3 missionaries to Kiribati in 1888. This happened from the invitation of our 2 catechists from the North, Pedro Terawas and Rataro Siroi, who first brought the Catholic faith to Kiribati in 1881 after being recruited to Tahiti to work on plantations there. It was on Tahiti that they learned about the Catholic faith from Bishop Stephen Johnson and Father Lotrin Levesque, who helped them translating prayers, catechisms, and hymns to the Kiribati language. So when both Pedro and Siroi returned to their island Nonos, they started living their faith, inspired many people, and were able to convert and baptize more than 500 new Catholic members. They decided to write a letter and ask for priests to come, and were helped by a French trader on the North Island, Mr. Frank Evan, who wrote a letter in French to a priest in Samoa called Father Remy in June 1886. In the letter, they asked him for priests to come to Kiribati, longing for Mass and the sacraments. Then, from their requests, Father Remy wrote a letter to Rome asking for missionaries to be sent to Kiribati. It was then that Father Chevalier sent 3 missionaries of the Sacred Heart to the mission in Kiribati. They were Father Pontum, Father Lee Ray, and Brother Conrad, who arrived on Nonos on the 8th of May, 1888, and said the first Mass on the boat in the lagoon of Nonos. After a few years of hard work and sacrifices, the embassies were in desperate need for the sisters to come and help them with the mission. Thus, Father Pontum told the people that he had to go back to France and bring back the sisters who will be their mothers. The people were very excited on hearing that. Consequently, in 1892, Father Pontum returned to France from his mission in Kiribati, accompanied by 2 Kiribati young men. He went to ask Mother Marie Louise for sisters to come and help them with the mission, and was given 5 sisters. But Father Pontum was not satisfied, so he was given 2 more sisters. However, in 1895, Mother Marie Louise sent 9 sisters to Kiribati, 2 who were already professed 6 months earlier. 5 made their profession 1 day before their departure to Kiribati, while 2 Australian sisters joined in from Australia on the way to Kiribati according to Mother Marie Louise's instructions, that 2 Australian sisters joined the group to Kiribati. Thus, the first group of sisters to Kiribati was very international. 9 sisters and 4 nationalities: Belgian, French, Dutch, and Australians, also living interculturally. They were Mother Isabel Mefet from Belgium and leader of the group, Sister Baptiste Geheta from Alsace, Sister Yves Vaillant from France, Sister Julie Clarks, Dutch from Holland, Sister Rocatien Frugat from France, Sister Victor Organ from France, Sister Irene Onilon from France, Sister Benjamin Pemberton from Australia, and Sister Frances Grayton from Australia as well. These sisters were very brave and with deep faith, boarding the Archer from Marseille with priests and brothers on the 25th of March 1895 and arrived on Australia on the 5th of May. After 2 months on the ship, tossing and throwing them up and down, making them seasick, they finally arrived on Australia. Then, heading again on the Archer for Kiribati, their mission destination, on the 22nd July, and arrived on the nose on the 14th August, a day before the feast of the Assumption of Our Lady into heaven. When they arrived on the nose, Father Lee Ray welcomes them with a big crowd of people, shouting and singing a welcome song to them and calling out in their language, "Here they come, our mothers, the holy women." Kiribati is a string of coral islands that has no connection to the other, and in those days, the only means of travel was by ship or canoe. We are 36 islands floating in the Pacific on the equator and the dateline. This was why Mother Marie Louise hesitated in the beginning to respond to Father Pontom's request, but she did this with faith and obedience and entrusted her fears of the unknown to God's love and providence. When the sisters had settled well in their new home and mission, Father Pontom took the sisters with him on his pastoral visit to different islands and appointed sisters to their different apostolates. Mother Isabel, together with Sister Eves and Sister Benjamin, were sent to Tarawa, now the mainland, where they established a boarding school for girls who started learning English and local crafts.
Ante yan ay tapin na wow di kya po ni kawat ang gisro ko kayo sina ide niya kananin ane na kay pare akar si ide men tumo nga pong garko ara punte ide kardo sented po to kira ay mai ne de sina kana ko na ko tapot ko pa yati tapori ande tayan au na nun de kay mai na ko tapot yo
Sister Victor and Sister Frances were sent to the Pitawea, where they started a good boarding school there for girls. They were very happy in their mission and were imbued with a desire to make the Sacred Heart of Jesus known and loved there. They taught the children in the mornings and worked with the women in the afternoons. Sister Irene and Sister Baptiste were sent back to Butaritari, where they stayed for a few months because the people there were not responsive, and so they were sent to Makin and the people welcomed them with joy. They really were in great awe, seeing the white women dressed in white and blue. So, wherever the sisters went, the people followed. They even touched their hands and felt their habits and veils. The old men wanted to be sure that the sisters had bones as they had. The people called Sister Irene their grandmother. Sister Irene went back to Tarawa after being on many islands and died in Diarere on the 1st of November 1958. She was known for her beautiful smile and her thank you words. Sister Rokatien and Sister Julie stayed on the nose. They worked so hard teaching children and instructed them to get ready for sacraments. Sister Julie was a teacher and could organize a school and manage the senior girls. They visited homes and converted most Protestants to the Catholic faith after their missionaries left Nanos. They built the new convents there and moved to it because they used to live with the boarders and found it uncomfortable but had managed. When Sister Baptist returned from Putaritari, she was sent to Nikunau with Sister Clementine, who was just arrived with the second group of sisters in 1899. They were not welcomed and were stranded overnight on the beach. Then an Englishman, Mr. Smith, came to their rescue and took them to his house. From there, they started building their house with the making of thatch, a job that is not easy for a Kiribati woman. Then Sister Baptist moved to Tapitawea, and from there she was sent to Australia for a checkup. She came back to Kiribati and was sent to Abayang and died in the Beirua on the 25th of August 1941. In 1896, while traveling between islands, Father Pontum, Mother Isabel, and Sister Okatien boarded the Maris Stella from Nonos and were drifted away after a big storm that lasted 9 days hit their ship. And that was how they got lost and then arrived in the Caroline Islands. They were drifted away. They were absent from Nonos for about 5 months, and the missionaries thought they were lost forever. After they got back to Nonos, Father Pontum died on the 24th November 1897, and Sister Rokatien also died a year after on the 13th of January 1898. Both were buried in Nanos. Later on, the sisters went back to Putaritari in 1900, and the first convent was built there, and at this time, Mother Isabel and Sister Julie, Sister Pierre, and Sister Felix remained in Putaritari. Mother Isabel was leader for the Kiribati communities from 1895 until 1921, but remained on Putaritari until her death in 1926. The headquarters for the sisters at that time was in Putaritari. Sister Felix was in charge of the girls' half-caste school until the Second World War. We have some ex-students who gave their stories about the sisters.
Felix. What did the Hura? The Hura and Girides or the Hura in a tongue? Angaya, the scenario, we are on a jar. I put kind of the Hura or so Sinako. And on the days in an woman, both taking that kind in an oh, this now, the only Ekuga, Ibugia, Siena. The medicine is the candidate and give best. On Ghanaian, Yakonan, they did that in a tango than Irona. I suppose I, when the Ereke Ongo gay, yang ayah ya bos ada ide dekat ni pun si tuan ada inda wiki rona ya sus jawan dawa ni kada wajib tatalo ya kada wajib ada tatalo sekadar rumah ide kita ada kain.
Mother Mali Louise kept on writing letters to all the sisters in the mission. This was the only means of communications during those days, hence Mother was so faithful, knowing the tardiness of the mails since it took months for the ships to come and go. From among the 180 letters in the book Her Letters, 39 of them were written to the sisters in Kiribati. In her letters, she asked about the sisters' needs materially and spiritually and cared for their health. Example, in the letter she wrote to the sisters on Nikunau, Sister Baptist and her companion. She wrote, I hope that the health of the two of you has not suffered from so many privations. Let me know its exact state in each of your letters. Have you everything that you need, both materially and spiritually? Is your food sufficient and is your house satisfactory? Are you free now to work at the conversion of these people? Her letters 72. Since then, more than 125 years ago, the footsteps of Mother Mali Louise and the early missionaries are still strong and visible in Kiribati, where the daughters, now Kiribati province, expanding in the Pacific, in Nauru, Marshall Islands, Fiji, Samoa, Slovakia in Europe, and around the islands of Kiribati. We are still trying our best to walk and follow with faith and obedience through the will of God, in accordance with Father Jules Chevalier's charism and spirituality and mission. We are in different apostolates and we try to respond to the new needs of our time so that we will continue to sing with joy and with great enthusiasm our motto, Amen too. May the Sacred Heart of Jesus be everywhere loved forever. And in our Kiribati language, Ebiatangiraki tabo nako, asinipani Yesu and Montetabu Naki Toki.